You are officially in the loop. You are now officially in the loop. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, welcome back to In the Loop podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Joe Hollabaugh, and today I am here with Rhen Richard, many-time national finals qualifier. I remember you when we were young and we were team roping together, so we won't talk too much about that. But you're older than me, I'm sure. But today we're going to talk about the Old West Rope Horse Futurity because everybody's been talking about it. There's this big Futurity in Heber City, Utah, that's going to have $1 million incentive for this sale everybody's talking about. So today we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about all things Old West Rope Horse Futurity. So, Rhen, thanks for coming to the show today.
Thanks for having me. We're excited to be a part of it.
100%.
So, I'll just kind of talk about last year and kind of how we got started. So, I mean, our vision was to just create an event that paid the type of money that made sense for guys to go invest in these horses, right? So, we've all along we've tried to bring enough value to our event to boost the value of these colts. So it kind of ties all in with our sale and everything, and we'll talk about that. But last year, the 4 and under heading and healing paid 50,000 to win it, and the intermediate and both paid 25,000. The 6 and under heading and healing paid 100,000, right? So we were kind of in a place in the industry where it was really growing, but there wasn't really an event that we felt like paid enough money to keep the industry sustainable. You go pay 150,000 for a 3-year-old, and the best futurity pays 25,000, right? It just on paper and to a businessman and people that have the ability to spend the money that we want these horses to bring, it just didn't really pencil out. So we put a team together and we tried to raise enough money to give back to the Cowboys and make an event like what Old West has turned into. And it was pretty cool to see how easy it was for people in the industry to be a part of. We paid back 100% of the money we raised, so there was different tiers of sponsorships last year, and all of the money that we raised went right back into the pot.
Yeah.
We didn't make any money on it. We didn't charge any stock charge or anything, and we really tried to truly give back to the industry. And I think that was big for the guys to go ahead and kind of step into what we're trying to do now and kind of believe in what we're doing. Was look, we're trying to create something where everybody can win. Whether it's an event or a sale or whatever it is, like we need everybody in the industry to want to play. And to raise the money that we needed to raise to be able to have the event paid like that, it can't just be one guy, forking out whatever that money is. Like we felt like if we could create something that everybody could be a part of, then we can create something through our event. Now we've tied our sale to it to where you can come in here. We bring a lot more value through our sale to where these horses are bringing the money that we want them to bring, and they have a chance to rope and compete for a big prize.
Right. Well, and this year you have over 620,000 added. I mean, and just within my limited knowledge of the fraternities, as I heard about this, I'm like, as an open breakaway roper, there's an open breakaway rope, and any aged horse can enter. $1,500 entry is guaranteed to pay 25,000. I'm like, you can't miss that opportunity. I know Sarah Angeloni told me she's bringing 8 horses over there. She's going to rope, all week long, and team roping, breakaway. So the opportunity that you guys are given, like you said, literally you're trying to make it to where everybody can play. And I think it's whether you're pro, intermediate, amateur, whatever it may be, like everybody can play, everybody can invest their time and money well spent and then redeem it back in some form or fashion. Like you said, we have so many investments. Talk about, all of the different incentives as far as like you're guaranteeing 100,000 payout, and the sponsors that you have is that they see this to me and talking to the propes and you guys, this isn't like a temporary thing. Like you said, you're not just getting one sponsor and you guys are going to have this a couple years. Like this is a long-term vision. You guys want this to be around, for a couple decades to come.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the timing of where the industry's at. The futurity stuff has only been going on for, at the most 10 years, but really the last 5 years it's blowed up. And, fortunately for a guy like me that's, kind of at the tail end of his career, but has passion about horses and, um, like it plugs in right with what I'm wanting to do. So just the overall vision, like guys that rodeo or, they can almost groom their skills and learn how to be a horseman before through the non-pro stuff and the junior stuff that we'll do. Then they get a chance at horses that come through the futurity programs that where 10 years ago, if you're an open caliber roper and you had a young horse, there wasn't really a place where you could go put a foundation on a young horse to try to set that horse up for his career in the end. And I think that's where the initial vision came for fraternities is we're going to build these horses, season them, and then they're ready to go to an open caliber roper.
Mhm.
So, there's so many things that we're going to try to do with ours that caters to everybody, whether
Yeah.
it's a non-pro, a limited intermediate roper, an open roper, junior. We have a 50 plus side pot in our non-pro this year. So there's so many cool things that we want to do through our event that I think will help the whole industry.
Yeah, and it just keeps growing. You keep giving more opportunities, like you said, the 50 plus this year. Like you're giving more opportunities each and every year for literally anybody who wants to be involved. You talked about passion in horses, and you and I both know your horse is the biggest tool that you've got to be successful in anything that you do. And we truly grow and just the respect I have for horses after competing at this level. Talk about the sale and really let's elaborate on that because I'm so intrigued by this. I think it's so exciting to know that, for me it's like you see these horses come up, you raise them, you have so much invested in them, and to see them be successful and then go out and be more successful and continue on in the way you guys have this sale set up. I think it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's so many things to talk about through the sale, but like just year one here, all the 3-year-olds that will be bought out of this sale will have a chance for $1 million bonus next year. So if you win first place on a sale graduate horse next year in the 4-year-old division in the heading or the heeling, you have a chance at $1 million. And then we'll have guaranteed side pots as well. So if you're the highest placing sale graduate horse, but you don't win first, we're still going to match the main pot, which is 50,000, right? So we'll pay five monies on that. Um, so if you're a head horse, which I think there's 18 total 3-year-olds this year, and 10 or more of those will be head horses. So there could be 120 entries in the open or the four and under heading, but you'll really only be competing against 10 of those horses for the guaranteed side pot. Where just a normal horse that enters the main pot, he's got to beat 125 horses to have a chance at the same money. So
Mhm.
next year, I mean, if there is a horse out there, it could be done. It's not going to be easy to do, but if they win the breakaway heading healing and they're an intermediate rider out of that, like they have a chance to run it over 1 million, two or three, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think there's ever been a horse in any discipline besides the race horse crack $1 million. So
Yeah.
for us to be able to have that opportunity, or it could happen year one, it's pretty exciting.
Well, in over a 4-day period, crack $1 million. What I mean, this just to me, it's like, what's the most you've ever won at the national finals? Because that's the biggest, other than the American, that's the biggest chance that we have for money. So, what's the most you've ever walked away with from the NFR?
Um, I think the best one I've ever had was like 160,000. And I mean, we won, we placed in maybe 7 rounds and 1 second in the average, and like it was great. So
Yeah.
that
You
just
knocked it
puts
out of the
things in
park.
perspective on and what it took investment
To win that.
wise to
Yeah.
do that. It's just, I mean, really, there's really no comparison.
Mhm.
The rodeo stuff's getting better, and I'm a fan of rodeo. I have nothing bad to say about it, but it gives these guys an opportunity when they on the front end of it before they even rodeo to dip in and play for some big money. Plus, you've got guys like Clay Smith. He's still a full-time rodeo guy. He comes to the Futurity last year and wins 100,000.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many events out there besides the American and maybe Calgary that you have a chance to win that kind of money. So it dang sure is cool for us to be able to produce something like that, and it's just going to
Sure.
get bigger and
Well,
better.
and I think too, like for me, on the tail end side of it, and I think because it's so new with the fraternities, it's like we only know, in the breakaway horse market, it's like you're looking for one that's finished, ready to go. But there's really not very many people that are starting those horses. There's really not very many people that have young horses or anything yet. And so the last couple years with the fraternities, we've seen that. And I think, nobody at the point, like we're seeing better quality bred horses and we're seeing these horses come up. So to me, it's going to incentivize people who maybe don't want to rodeo or didn't have the opportunity to rodeo or anything. There's a whole new avenue of a career for people who love riding. I know there's several girls and guys I've talked to, like they just love riding young horses. They love starting them up. They love training them and seeing them through. So I think that, like, to me, it's like this is a whole new avenue and a whole new opportunity for people to really invest in this part of the journey of a horse. And then on top of that, with the sale and everything, like this is just continue to grow and build on everything that we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just just the what the door is opened already for trainers to make an actual living, like not just scratch by and be able to live, but you know as more people get involved with this, there's already a shortage of 2-year-old starters and guys that want to start a 3-year-old. So, I mean, even if you don't have any, dreams of showing horses, just what the industry's already created, just starting horses, you can make
Mhm.
a good living. So,
Yeah. So the group of guys that you're involved with this and that are putting this together and continuing to grow this, what is y'all's vision for this and where, why you started and where you want it to go?
I mean, our vision is to just bring as much value to the horses to be able to make those horses bring the most money as they can. We're putting an event on that's going to grow. We're going to keep raising capital to do some really cool things with the guaranteed side pots that the sale horses will be eligible to run at every year. And I mean, it's kind of hard to say where we really want it to go. We just want it to keep growing, right? So year one, we paid 100,000 in both the 5 and 6-year-old, and 50 in the 4-year-old. Our goal next year is to make the 4-year-old main pot pay 100, both sides, the breakaway, everything, the non-pro, all that. We're just going to keep making it better and better.
Yeah. What Tell me, like when you're getting involved in the sale and like we're talking about next year, you might have a horse that wins $1 million. What does it look like, year two for the sale and year three for the sale? Like, what is y'all's vision for that to continue on and be a part? How do you get involved? Like, what if I have a horse that I want to put into the sale? Like, what does that process look like?
So how we structured our sale is we sold 40 slots. Okay. Each one of those slots cost you 25,000 per year. But what you get with that is when you say you buy a slot this year, it costs you 25,000. That gets you one horse in the sale in 2026. Okay. And
Okay.
you can put a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, or a yearling in that sale. The bottom side has to have a certain amount of black type. So your colt or filly either has to be out of a mare that won or produced 10,000, or the grandma had to have won or produced 25,000. Either one of those, it doesn't have to be both, right?
Okay.
And what that does is it helps us push quality. And right now the industry is just starting to breed horses that we're trying to create a product that's a head horse, or we're trying to
Mhm.
create um, that horse that produces breakaway horses. Not just we're not looking to go buy a cull out of somebody's cutting or cow horse program anymore. Like we're trying to specialize to where we actually figure out what crosses work, and to try to get as much black type as we can on certain mares to where we can kind of base our horse just like the race horse or the cutting or the cow horse, right? To where we kind of have our own, um, what do you call it? Our industry
Genetically.
has its own breeding, right? Where we know, yeah, you have a Corona Cartel mare, but like her babies, she produces head horses. They move a certain way. She crosses a certain way on a cow horse or whatever it is. So, um, I think it's super exciting. I think there's a lot of people out there that have invested in mares. And I think, within the next 5 years, I think you'll have something that's a lot closer to the cutting or the cow horse, to where people are incentivized to buy certain colts out of certain mares that are producing certain things.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, just like anything else that we do as rodeo cowboys and cowgirls, we're competitive at it. So, like, even talking about it's exciting to me because it is like we're on the tip of the iceberg of we're just kind of starting to see, like, can you get this out of a breakaway horse when you breed it? And what, like you said, how do they cross with what? And I think that that's exciting for our industry because we're going to have specifically rope horse bred horses instead of it just being like, well, I found this horse. Or you just find somebody's horse in the back of a parking lot. I mean, it's going to be an intentional bred thing, and it's going to continue to grow. And then knowing that there's a the out west futurity is going to continue to add more money, you're just crazy. Like, you're crazy not to get in this right now and be a part of it.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to touch back on our sale. So these 40 slots, okay, these owners, it's like an investment, right? So you could own one of these slots and not even have a horse program, right? Because we feel like we'll never sell more than the 40 slots, right? So those should appreciate. And we want the slot owners to have a chance to sell their berths. All right. And what that means is, when you own the slot, so say you buy a slot, all right, and
Okay.
you have one 3-year-old that you're excited about, and you're planning on putting that 3-year-old in the sale next year. Well, now you have 3 other berths that come with your slot. So each one of those berths, if you want to sell your berth, right, you can value that and whatever you want, right?
Okay.
If you feel like your berth's worth 10,000 or 50,000, you can sell that for whatever you want to sell it for, but the buyer has the responsibility to pay the sale to 25,000. So no matter what, each horse in the sale costs 25,000 to get in the sale.
Minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it'll never be more than that to this sale. So you as the slot owner have the ability to make money on your berth without you paying the 25,000 for that berth to the sale. Does that make sense?
So, for instance, say I buy a slot this year and I've got my 3-year-old. So 2 years from now, I'm not ready yet, but the third year I will be. Say this is worth 50,000 to people. They're like, there's only 40 spots. They want to get in, but you have the $25,000 spot. So you could make, essentially, if somebody bought my berth for 50,000, I'm guaranteed the 25,000, my right, and then they put the 25,000 to get their horse in the sale.
And so what you would do is you don't even value the 25,000 that the sale
Okay.
gets for you. So if you're gonna price your berth for 50, they pay now
And
you they're
then I
responsible to pay the sale. So it really costs them
75.
75,000.
Very
Right.
cool.
And so I mean, and that sounds crazy, right? To pay that much money to put a horse in the sale. But the thing that happens is, in time, like everybody's going to use their berths, right? So say there's 2 berths left. There's 158 horses in the sale. You've got a big time stud colt and you've got something put together where this horse is worth $1 million. Okay. What are you willing to pay me for a birth when you know your colt is going to bring X?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, in time, those births could be worth 100,000. The
Right.
slots could be worth 500,000. Right. So, 25,000 seems like a lot on the front end, but after we get 4 or 5 years under our belt and people see the kind of money that we'll be capable of paying out through our side pots, like really it's a pretty
It's a
small investment, because as a group we're confident that we can bring way more value to the horses in our sale than 25,000.
So if like the first 40 slots, is it going to be like the first right of refusal every time, or are you going to open that up to everybody who wants to be involved? What does that look like?
So so we've sold the 40 slots this year. Those
Okay.
owners will own those slots forever
Okay.
unless they want to sell them, right? So
Okay.
say Jordan buys her slot this year and you put a colt in it next year, and for some reason it's just not what you're thinking and you want to get rid of that slot. You can do that, right? You can sell your slot and somebody else can retain it. But every year, like next year, all those 40 slot owners will have the chance to own their
Buy their
slot
slot.
again. And if they don't, like right now, I mean, there's 40 slots that are already spoken for. There's a waiting list of 75 already. Right.
I
So
was going
I
to say,
think
how many
people
people
are,
are on the list?
yeah, I think people are catching the spirit on what we're trying to do and realizing what these horses are capable of bringing out of the sale, just because of the money that we're not projecting that it's going to be there. Like, we're guaranteeing, the money in the side pots. So
Yeah.
it'll be cool to
Well,
say. We hope, like, we want somebody to win the million year one. We want somebody to win the million every year, because that's what really drives the value in the horses out of those sales. Is we're not trying to create something that's so hard to retain that people aren't willing to take a chance, right?
right.
We want these slot owners to bring their very best horses to put in the sale, and at the end of the day, most of the time the very best horse wins, right? So, and like I said, there's so many different things to talk about what that does. Is it's black type, it's everything, and what we're trying and what we need in our
Well, and I
industry.
think too is like for me, it's okay if like for the American, for example, like there's very small chance for anybody to win the million and or split it, right? I mean, awesome opportunity, but it's like not very easy to get there. Whereas like everything I'm hearing with you guys, it's like you guys are trying to give everybody the best chances and several chances to get there at the million. Like you want somebody to win this million. It's not like we're dangling it in front of everybody and trying not to like it's guaranteed and you want people to get in there. And not only that, it's like, yeah, winning first is probably going to be a challenge, but guaranteed money when you make the short round, like you can't hardly beat that. It's guaranteed side pot money.
Exactly. And I mean, it's not, we hope in 5 years that we can get those side pots to pay 150, 200,000. And that's just year one, right? So those horses we'll do the same thing in the 5 and 6 year old, in 2027. We'll create guaranteed side pots through that, through the intermediate. We don't have a limited yet, but we will have a limited as soon as we're just trying to raise the capital to be able to do it all. And then there's some things we want to do to the non-pro. We want to tie a $500,000 bonus to the non-pro in time, to where uh, there there's some things we've talked about you take a sale graduate horse that gets bought as a 3 year old out of the sale, and then as he ages out and turns 7 years old, we'll create something through that same sale where you bring that aged horse back through the sale, and you give these non-pro types guys and girls, even in the breakaway, to have a
Mhm.
chance to buy that aged out horse and still compete for big money. Like, we want to create, and I don't know how that looks yet, but as far as like a non-pro style breakaway, and
Yeah.
same thing, we tie a $250 to $500,000 bonus depending on the entries to the breakaway. So, I mean, there's some cool stuff that we've talked about and we plan on doing. It's going to take us a year or two to kind of get everything put together, but it's pretty cool.
Well, and I think too, it's exciting for me is it's not exclusive to just like, I think futurities and you think either trainers or pro rodeo guys, right? That are going to be riding these horses or capable of it. But talking about phasing it out in the couple years to come and the non-pro and the amateurs and stuff, like you're literally going to make a place for everybody to be a part of it. So it's not like, well, if I don't train, 3 and 4 year olds, I can't do it. No, you guys want everybody to be a part of it, from trainers to your pro-am ropers, probably at the end of the day. Like it's a place for everybody as this continues to go on. And the biggest thing I'm hearing is that you guys aren't going anywhere. You're here to stay. Your vision's already bigger and better for next year, and this year hasn't even happened yet. So that's exciting to me that you're creating opportunities not only for the horses but for the players as well.
Exactly.
100%. All right, so June 17th through the 21st. Okay, so entries close June 11th, but there is a place if you need to get late entries until the day before the event on June 16th. There's a $300 late fee, but I really don't know. Like, I love to see all these breakaway roping girls. They're entering for their 4th of July run. They're going to Nampa, and then they also are going to Heber. They turned out of a rodeo to go and make sure that they're at this jackpot, and that's just breakaway roping. So everybody's talking about it. Everybody's going to be there. What's some of the feedback that you've got from your open team ropers, your open breakaway ropers, some of that are all headed to this Futurity in Heber?
After last year, the feedback was all pretty good. As a team, we really tried to prepare with the cattle that we had. We're going to use Mundorf for the calves. He's going to have 150 head there. The facility's outstanding. We're going to try to go above and beyond to try to create that atmosphere to people feel like they're, competing at something that's special. We're in the works to live streaming finals day with the Cowboy Channel. PHC will live stream the whole event. We're going to have a big dinner for the sale. The sale's Friday night. Yeah, there's so many cool things that we're trying to do, and it's a little bit overwhelming. We're only 2 weeks out, and it seems like we got a lot of work to do, but it's coming together. I think everybody's excited. Just the money that's going to pay out and having a chance to win that kind of money is exciting in itself. So
yeah, I mean, 620,000 added guaranteed money is the biggest thing to me. I mean, when you can guarantee that type of money and you know what you're going to show up and rope for, to me, that's a no brainer. And if you're not entered, if you're not a part of it, it's not too late. You can still be a part of it. How many horses are you going to have entered this year, Rhen?
Ooh, that's a good question.
How
I
much
think
longer
total
do you
I'll have 11. Yeah, so I've got one heel horse. I'm trying to get a real healer lined up to ride him because he's probably better than what I need to be showing. But I'll have 6 4-year-olds and 4, 5, and or 4, 6 and under head horses. So that's a lot.
What all goes into preparing these horses to get them ready for a fraternity event like this at your place?
Well, it's gotten so competitive anymore. Like you pretty much have to have your horses ready to go to an open roping. The cattle will be strong and fresh. It's I don't really prepare any different than what I would if I was going to the BFI or Reno. Horses need to look good. Conformation helps a lot. It is a judged event, so I think it's turned it up a lot on how people take care of their horses and manes and tails and having them big and fleshy and pretty and all those things matter. So that goes a lot into our preparation and just yeah, you just try to get your horse to peak at the right moment, just like if you were rodeoing. And I mean, most of the guys have enough good horses now where anybody's capable of winning it. They just need to have a day and it's pretty cool to see. There'll be a lot of good horses there and good hands, and it's probably the top event that, as far as horse flesh, that you could go to and watch in our industry.
Yeah, horse flesh, horsepower, the best of the best of the athletes are going to be there showing and riding these horses. June 17th through 21st, Weaver City, Utah. You like I said, everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to be there. If you're not there already, you're silly. You need to make sure you're there 2026. But I'm most excited to watch the sale. I think that's going to be something that's super fun, and I think it's something that's going to change the game in this industry. I mean, everything that we're talking about and all that, it's my wheels are already turning on the squirrels of, what are we breeding, and how does that look, and what does the genetics look like, and how do you get involved to be a part of it? Because like I said, this isn't going anywhere. You guys are guaranteeing this money, and then you're going to come back again and again and again. So it's going to be around a long time, and it's going to change the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can already see and hear the buzz at these futurities on guys kind of strategizing on how they're going to put something together, on how they're breeding to this mare or that stud, or like how do we get an edge on the next guy to have a chance to win that million. So it's exciting.
Well, I'm sure you guys don't really share your strategies with too many people, do you?
Oh yeah, there's no secrets out there. It's mare power and breed to the best studs and
Yeah.
have a little luck on your side.
Have a good day. Well, Rhen Richard, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the Out West Rope Horse Futurity. Really exciting to see that June 17th through the 21st, Heber City, Utah. Thanks for joining us on In the Loop podcast, and we'll see you in Heber.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.